Live from New Delhi, you're watching DT India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's global outreach on Operation Sindoor continues. All party delegations engage with key figures in multiple nations, highlighting India's continued fight against terrorism. As Putin rejects Vatican peace talks proposal, Trump says that Putin is playing with fire while Russia makes gains in Ukraine. US halts student visa appointments and plans expanded social media vetting move as a part of Trump's wide-ranging efforts to fulfill his hardline immigration agenda. After two explosive failures, SpaceX missed the flight test attempt of Starship rocket again. Fuel leak and lost control bring the test to fail. India set for above normal rainfall with estimate of 106% downpours. Forecast brings boost for agriculture and rural livelihood. And on to the details now. New Delhi's message of zero tolerance against terrorism is echoing worldwide, with India's multi-party delegations holding back-to-back interactions with world leaders, parliamentarians, think tanks, media and civil society in different countries to further unmask Pakistan's cross-border terrorism. An all-party Indian parliamentary delegation currently in South Africa will visit South Africa's parliament and hold meeting with South Africa's ministers of government. The delegation, led by MP Supriya Sole, commenced the South Africa engagement on Tuesday in Johannesburg with a community interaction to reiterate India's message against terrorism. The delegation shared that Operation Sindoor, conducted by India in response, was calibrated, targeted and proportionate, demonstrating India's commitment to countering terrorism without escalating tensions. Well, the all-party delegation Group 6, led by DMK MP Kanimozi Karunanidhi, reached Greece on Tuesday evening. She and a delegation was received by the Indian ambassador to Greece, Rudrendra Tandon, at the airport. The delegation will be in Greece for the next 1.5 days, where they will be interacting with government officials, media personalities and parliamentarians of Greece, highlighting Pakistan's terrorism and India's Operation Sindoor.
All these countries, Greece as well as Slovenia, are, as you can see, you can read right here, Greece, Security Council 25-26, so they are there. Slovenia is there. They are therefore very important today. But they are also important because they are members of the European Union. The European Union is one of the major stakeholders in the world in forming global opinion. So our meetings with these people are not only because they are currently members, and that is a very important thing, because Pakistan is also a member of the and so to have the other non-permanent members and the permanent members understanding our position, reflecting it, ensures that Pakistan doesn't get warded into it, and that they get Pakistan from the back, and the world focus remains on dismantling terror.
Well, another all-party delegation led by BJP MP Ravi Prasad reached Italy's Rome on the second leg of the multi-nation visit on Wednesday. In Rome, the delegation would be interacting with the members of parliament, think tanks and media. They will also meet a cross-section of vibrant Indian community in Italy. Earlier in France, the delegation met with the senators of the India-France Friendship Group and the Committee on Foreign Affairs and Defence in Paris. Well, another multi-party delegation led by MP Shrikant Shinde delegation is in Congo to brief Congolese officials on India's response to the April 22nd Pahalgam terror attack and its broader fight against cross-border terrorism while engaging with leaders. The delegation had a meeting with the President of Foreign Affairs Commission, Congo, Berthold Ulungu Ekonda Lukata on Tuesday. Following the meeting, Shrikant Shinde in a joint conference expressed gratitude to Congo's President of Foreign Affairs Commission for standing firmly with India in its fight against terrorism. Also, an all-party delegation led by India's Member of Parliament Shashi Tharoor visited Panama's National Assembly to share India's views on fighting terrorism. The delegation has arrived in Panama City for a 3-day visit after their trip to Guyana. The delegation is currently engaged with the local leaders, journalists and members of the Indian community to strengthen ties between India and Panama and reaffirm India's firm stance against cross-border terrorism. Also, in his address to the Assembly, Dr. Shashi Tharoor once again reiterated India's firm stance against terrorism and recalled key operations like the Uri and Balakot strikes, which marked a shift in India's response strategy.
But what has changed in recent years is that the terrorists have also realized they will have uprisings. On that, let there be no doubt. When, for the first time, India breached the line of control between India and Pakistan to conduct a surgical strike on a terror base, a launch pad, the Uri strike in September 2015, that was already something we had not done before. Even during the Kargil War, we had not crossed the line of control. In Uri we did. Then came the attack in Pulwama in January 2019. This time we crossed not only the line of control, we crossed the international border and we struck a terrorist headquarters in Balakot. This time we have gone beyond both of those. We have not only gone beyond the line of control and the international border, we have struck at the Punjabi upland of Pakistan by hitting terror bases, training centers, terror headquarters in 9 places.
Well, another multi-party delegation led by MP Bilayant Jay Panda arrived in Saudi Arabia on the third leg of their four-nation visit on Tuesday. The delegation was received by Major General Abdul Rahman Al-Harbi, chairman of Saudi-India Friendship Committee in Riyadh. Saudi Arabia has been an important partner of India for years at various fronts, and now it stands with India to combat terrorism. And India's all-party delegation will reach Indonesia on Wednesday to project New Delhi's national consensus and resolute approach to combating terrorism in all forms and manifestations. The cohort will be in Indonesia until Saturday. Chandni Vasandhani gets us a detailed report from Jakarta.
We are here ahead of the visit of the all-party delegation that will arrive in Jakarta on Wednesday morning. This 4-day visit is a vital component of India's multinational mission to strengthen the global narrative against cross-border terrorism. This delegation is led by Mr. Sanjay Kumar Jha, and they will come here to brief Indonesian counterparts on India's response to the Pahalgam terror attack back on April 22nd. The delegation will meet with several members of the Indonesian parliament, and we can expect that the discussions will underline the threat of terrorism and the importance of international cooperation against terrorism. They're also expected to visit the ASEAN Secretariat to meet with the ASEAN Secretary General. During this visit, they will also be meeting with several representatives of Indonesian political parties and influential think tanks. This is a good opportunity for the Indian delegation to, voice their concerns about terrorism, which is a clear and present threat that exists until today, and rally support for Operation Sindoor as a response to terrorism. Beyond these high-level discussions and dialogues, they will also meet with the Nahdlatul Ulama, which is the world's largest Islamic organization that is based in Indonesia. They also have, in their agenda, they also have scheduled to have several community and cultural engagements where they will interact and meet with media houses and members of the Indian diaspora based in Indonesia. This visit to Jakarta represents a very serious diplomatic effort to forge stronger partnerships and amplify the call for decisive action against those who commit and support acts of terror. After this Jakarta leg, the delegation will travel to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I am Chandni Vasandani reporting from Jakarta.
Well, India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri is on U.S. visit till May 29th. During his visit, he met U.S. Under Secretary Jeffrey Kessler, discussing India and U.S. cooperation in critical and emerging technologies. They also discussed early convening of the India-U.S. Strategic Trade Dialogue to deepen tech and trade collaboration. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri's visit is a follow-up to Prime Minister's visit to the United States in February 2025, when both sides had launched the India-US Compact, which means catalyzing opportunities for military partnership, accelerated commerce and technology for the 21st century. Compact is a 10-year roadmap to elevate the US-India major defense partnership, enabling co-production and joint development of critical military platforms. And after an 8-month sea odyssey, INSV Tharani, carrying 2 women officers, is set to return home on May 29th, marking the culmination of a challenging voyage that spanned across 4 continents. Navy Chief Admiral Dinesh K. Tripathi had flagged off the Indian naval sailing vessel Tharani from Naval Ocean Sailing Node in Goa on October 2nd last year. The flag-in ceremony of Tharani will be presided over by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh at Mormugao Port in Goa, formally marking the culmination of the global circumnavigation. And the Indian Meteorological Department has upgraded its monsoon forecast for 2025, predicting 106% of the long period average rainfall, slightly higher than the 105% forecast in April. This increase is expected to benefit the country's agricultural sector regionally from June to September 2025. The rainfall is most likely to be above normal over central India and the South Peninsula region, while northwest India is expected to experience normal rainfall levels. In contrast, northeast India is likely to receive below normal rainfall. The monsoon core zone, which covers much of India's rain-fed agricultural land, is also forecast to receive above normal rainfall, providing a favorable outlook for the Kharif cropping season. IMD has issued an orange alert for hailstorms in Himachal Pradesh's Kangra and Kullu districts for Wednesday and Thursday. A statewide alert for thunderstorms and lightning has also been issued for the next 4 to 5 days. As per the Met Department, scattered rainfall is expected across the state over the next 3 days, with light to moderate showers anticipated in about 75% of the area. Day temperatures are expected to drop by 2 to 3 degrees Celsius due to rain, with average temperatures ranging around 25 degrees Celsius. The monsoon is expected to arrive in Himachal Pradesh between June 24th and 26th, potentially earlier than usual due to its rapid progress in the other regions. And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. Trump administration moves to cut $100 million in federal contracts for Harvard. Jitesh Sharma powers RCB to a crucial win over LSD in the last league stage game of IPL 2025. And India observes Veer Savarkar's birth anniversary. Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lipakshi Kuran, and moving on, U.S. President Donald Trump said on Tuesday that Russian President Vladimir Putin was playing with fire. Trump's latest comments follow some of the biggest drone and missile attacks on Ukraine since the conflict began in early 2022. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said what Vladimir Putin doesn't realize is that if it weren't for him, lots of really bad things would have already happened to Russia. Also, U.S. President Donald Trump's administration has ordered U.S. missions abroad to stop scheduling new student and exchange visitor visa appointments as the State Department plans to expand social media vetting for foreign students. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said updated guidance on vetting would be issued after a review is completed. However, already scheduled appointments can proceed. The move is part of the administration's broader efforts to tighten immigration policies, including ramping up deportations and targeting student visas. The expanded social media vetting will change how consular sections operate, with a focus on the resources needed for each case. The administration also links student visa holders' support for Palestinians or criticism of Israel to potential deportation, accusing them of threatening U.S. foreign policy. And the Trump administration plans to end the federal government's remaining contracts with Harvard University, which are valued at around $100 million. The U.S. General Services Administration sent a letter to federal agencies directing them to review and potentially terminate or reallocate these contracts. The move follows the administration's broader push against Harvard, including canceling nearly $3 billion in federal research grants and attempting to revoke the university's ability to enroll international students. A federal judge temporarily blocked this move, but the administration has also stopped scheduling new student and exchange visitor visa appointments. Several hundred protesters, including Harvard University students and professors, demonstrated in support of foreign students at the Harvard campus on Tuesday, while also protesting Trump administration efforts to cut off funding to the university. Well, a U.S. judge allowed 14 states to proceed with a lawsuit challenging Elon Musk's role in slashing federal spending as head of President Trump's new government efficiency agency. However, the judge dismissed claims against Trump himself, ruling that the court wouldn't interfere with his presidential duties. The lawsuit, filed by Attorney General from New Mexico, Oregon, and 12 other states, argues that Musk's cost-cutting actions were unauthorized by law. They seek to halt Musk's effort to cut federal spending and shut down agencies Trump disapproves of. The state claim Musk has been given powers usually reserved for confirmed government officials, as DOGE, the agency Musk leads, has dismantled programs and cut thousands of jobs. And U.S. President Donald Trump said that Canada could join his proposed Golden Dome missile defense system for free, but only if it becomes part of the United States. Otherwise, it would cost Canada $61 billion to be part of the system, said Trump, who has repeatedly called for the United States' northern neighbor to become the 51st state. Canada has expressed interest in joining the missile system, plans for which Trump unveiled last week to defend against a wide array of enemy weapons, but has firmly rejected any loss of sovereignty. Trump announced plans for the Golden Dome system a week ago, saying it would eventually cost around $175 billion and would be operational by the end of his term in 2029. And Mexico's economy minister, Marcelo Ebrard, announced that the mandatory 6-year review of the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement, which replaced the North American Free Trade Agreement in 2020, is set to begin in early October 2025. Speaking at a banking event on Tuesday, Ebrard said the review, initially expected in the second half of 2025, will evaluate the trilateral trade pact. U.S. President Donald Trump, who negotiated the USMCA, has pushed for renegotiation to secure better U.S. terms and impose tariffs on some Canadian and Mexican imports. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney emphasized resolving bilateral issues, including fentanyl smuggling, before talks. The review aims to strengthen North American trade cooperation. Well, Vietnam is accelerating trade talks with the U.S. to secure a deal before July 2025, and tariffs of 32% to 49% could hit 6 Southeast Asian nations, as announced by President Trump in April. Post on X highlight Vietnam's efforts to prove its exports are not Chinese-made, addressing U.S. scrutiny. The ASEAN summit in Kuala Lumpur this week emphasized regional strategies to mitigate tariff impacts. Vietnam's proactive negotiations aim to safeguard its manufacturing hub status, critical for electronics and textiles. According to international media sources, a successful deal could bolster Vietnam's economy, which saw $12 billion in foreign investment inflows this month. And French President Emmanuel Macron will meet his Indonesian counterpart Prabowo Subianto in Jakarta on Wednesday, and defense ties with Paris's biggest arms clients in Southeast Asia are expected to be on the agenda. Indonesia is the second leg of Macron's regional trip after Vietnam, where the two countries signed deals worth over $10 billion. He's scheduled to fly to Singapore on Thursday. Indonesia's foreign ministry said the two sides would discuss existing strategic partnerships without giving specific details about the areas of discussion. In 2022, the two countries signed an $8.1 billion defense deal that included an order for 42 Rafale fighter jets made by France's Dassault Aviation AM.BA, as well as a series of agreements including submarine development and ammunition. Though no Rafale jets have been delivered to Indonesia yet, Prabowo, who became president last year, was the defense minister when these deals were signed. After Indonesia, Macron will conclude his Southeast Asia trip with a final stop in Singapore. And the 9th test flight of SpaceX's Starship, launched on Tuesday, failed after facing significant challenges despite reaching farther than previous attempts. The two-stage spacecraft, consisting of the Starship vessel mounted atop a towering SpaceX Super Heavy rocket booster from the company's Starbase launch site on the Gulf Coast of Texas near Brownsville. SpaceX launched the Starship system with a previously flown Super Heavy booster for the first time, aiming to achieve a key demonstration of its reusability. Well, but after about a half hour after launch, SpaceX said its flight team had lost attitude control over Starship as it leaked fuel, spun out of control, and made an uncontrolled re-entry after flying halfway around the world, likely disintegrating over the Indian Ocean. And on to some sports news. Board of Control for Cricket in India has invited all 3 service chiefs of the Indian Armed Forces to the Indian Premier League 2025 finale as a tribute to Operation Sindoor. The decision followed the exceptional valor and courage showcased by Indian Armed Forces while successfully carrying out Operation Sindoor. BCCI Secretary Devajit Saikia said that the BCCI salutes the bravery, courage and selfless service of the country's armed forces. BCCI will honour Indian Armed Forces chiefs, top-ranked officers and soldiers in the closing ceremony of the IPL. And stand-in captain Jitesh Sharma led Royal Challengers Bengaluru to a commanding 6-wicket over Lucknow Super Giants in the last league fixture of IPL 2025 on Tuesday. Rishabh Pant's unbeaten 118 along with Mitchell Marsh's heroics helped LSG set up a mammoth target of 228. However, the night belonged to Jitesh and RCB. Virat Kohli set the tone for the chase with a 30-ball 54, while Phil Salt made a quick-fire 30. The second half of the chase was led by Jitesh. He finished on 85, not out to take RCB home with 8 balls to spare. With this win, RCB have advanced to the Qualifier 1 on Thursday, where they will face Punjab Kings. The winner of Qualifier 1 will move to the finale. And India observes the birth anniversary of freedom fighter Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, also known as Veer Savarkar, on 28th May. Born in the year 1883 in a Brahmin Hindu family of India's Nashik district, Savarkar played various roles as a revolutionary, freedom fighter, writer and political leader who's left an indelible mark on the history of the country. During his fight against Britishers, Savarkar was sentenced to 2 life imprisonments and sentenced to Kalapani and sent to cellular jail. As a strong supporter of Hindu unity, Savarkar used his literary skills to advocate the concept of Hindutva, which he described as the essence of Hindu identity and culture. Veer Savarkar's birth anniversary is a special day to remember his contributions to India's independence and social reform. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Nipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.